Hello, my name is Rachel Firehammer and I am a high school social studies teacher. Today I'm going to be talking about 21st century learning. Now 21st century learning has a lot of different definitions and aspects to it, but it is basically the idea that our future is ever changing and we need to help our students become more prepared for this ever changing future. It's not just teaching them English, science, social studies, and math, but teaching them skills that they will need to use within the future. So I want to focus on 4 aspects of 21st century learning in this video, which make up the 4 C's: communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. Communication is the practice of conveying ideas and a skill needed for your students to know how to effectively get their point across. You can teach this skill through a variety of ways, such as individual or group presentations or even discussions. Collaboration is the practice of working together and is an important skill for your students to have, as they will need to work with others in order to accomplish goals. You can teach this skill in your students through things like group work, group presentations. Next is creativity, which is the practice of thinking outside the box. Being able to apply knowledge in a new way is really important for all of the new jobs created in this ever-changing society. You can hone this creative skill by having things like a lot of coloring, presentations, and maybe even something like creative writing in your classroom. Lastly, critical thinking is the practice of solving problems, and students will be able to use this skill both in your classroom and beyond. It is a skill that will help them tackle any new problem in their own way and not be afraid to try something new. You can inspire this skill in your students by using discussions or inquiry-based learning or project-based learning within your classroom. I've already used the 4 C's a lot within my classroom. The one that I use the most and my favorite is creativity. I think the coloring supplies are always out within my classroom, as my history, economics, and government students are constantly drawing pictures, creating posters, writing infographics. I truly believe that putting a creative spin on your lessons helps students truly understand what concept you're trying to get across. I constantly have my students refer back to posters they've made and are really excited whenever I say, today we're going to be drawing pictures. My favorite creative lesson is a business plan that my economics students do. They can do this either on their own or with a partner, and basically they're coming up with any new type of business that they would want. They create a presentation for us, and then they present it to myself and the entire class, and we are their potential investors, saying whether we like their project or not, which most every one of us do. Their businesses that they come up with are so creative, and it's really engaging and fun to see what they come up with towards the end of the year. The 2 other aspects that I use a lot in my classroom are communication and collaboration. And I have these 2 together because I think that they work together. You can't effectively collaborate if you can't communicate. So I do this a lot in all of my different classes. I'm constantly putting my students into groups and having them do group work. We do class discussions a lot. That business plan is a group project if they want them to be. But my favorite project that goes along with this is this stranded activity I got from the other government teacher in my school. Basically, at the beginning of the year, my government students get into small groups and they've become stranded on an island, and they have to effectively communicate and collaborate with one another in order to create an entirely new government structure. And it's fun to see them arguing and discussing and figuring out how they're going to govern one another on their new island there. I want to end this video by looking to the future. I would like to incorporate more project-based learning in my classroom. The idea of giving my students a problem to solve where they can use those 4 C's of 21st century learning and learn important social studies facts along the way sounds amazing. I also can align this with the book by Bransford A.L., How People Learn, Brain, Mind, Experience in School, where they've got a quote in there that really resonated with me. Learners are more motivated to learn when they can find use in what they are doing. These projects incorporate many of these skills that students will be able to see that are important for them beyond the classroom, so they'll become more motivated to do the lesson. I see this as being something that I introduce in stages within my classroom so that it's not super overwhelming for both myself as well as my students. Secondly, I'd like to create a more flipped classroom model in my classroom. Now that I'm having more access to Chromebooks in my classroom, I can more easily have my students learn the content at home, and we can apply that knowledge then within the classroom. This will also be done in stages as we get more and more used to these Chromebooks. Though as I incorporate more technology, I do want to be mindful of its incorporation, so I will make sure to keep TPAC in mind, to make sure that I am incorporating the technology along with the content in a meaningful way. Thank you for watching.